Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Anderson, and welcome to the Hustle, Heart and Innovation podcast. This episode is with Darren Murray on everything coaching and his business, DMElite. Darren provides a very refreshing view on the coaching landscape in Scotland, what goes into being a good coach, and also as we talk through his business acumen comes through quite a lot. So this is well worth a listen, well worth a watch. Wherever you absorb your podcasts, please do remember to subscribe, whether that's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on the YouTube channel. It really, really does help. And if you do get value from this episode, please feel free to support the episodes and the podcast overall by buying me a coffee and clicking in the link in the show notes. Again, it really helps the podcast and helps me continue to get good guests and bring you good content. Okay, without further ado, let's get into this episode. Welcome, Darren, to the Hustle, Heart and Innovation podcast. How are you this morning, mate?
I'm good, Brian. Thanks for inviting me on. I'm really looking forward to it. It's my first podcast, potentially my last. Your viewers may be put off, but I'm looking forward to it. It's something that I've had on my mind for a wee bit now. But I'm happy to be here, and just grateful to be in the job I'm in, to be honest,
It might be your first podcast, but it's not your first media type engagement you've ever done in your life. And I've seen all the snips on social media of you, doing what you've been doing for DMElite. So you'll be fine. You'll talk well. We'll all learn from you, and I'm sure you'll do many more after this. So
thank you, Brian.
Let's see how we crack on. Anyway, before we get into hearing about Darren as the coach in DMElite, give me just a few minutes about pre-coach Darren, about your career, your life, where you grew up. Just give us a few minutes so we can paint the picture of you.
Aye, absolutely. So there I'm Darren. My name's Darren Murray, and I'm a father of 4 wonderful children: Stefan, Alex, Stevie, and Macklin. I'm the son of John and Mary, and I am from Saughton Mains. I was born and bred in Saughton Mains, which is a scheme in the west side of Edinburgh. Very proud of my roots. It was a brilliant place to grow up. I had a lot of friends around there and played football with my big brother's friends, and that taught me some valuable lessons, to be fair. And I think in the formative years when I was growing up, football was all I ever had, and even fair at a very young age, and very different to now, Brian, where kids have got so much like other stuff to do. I had a ball, and I had a lot at times, and then I had my brother's pals and my brother, and it was just growing up with not a lot, but loved and looked after, and it was Saughton Mains was a brilliant place at that time, an amazing place.
Were you Tynecastle High School then?
Tynecastle High School, yep. So
what were you like at school? Were you somebody that got stuck in, or were you somebody that did?
Do you know what? Right, like only through hindsight and experience, Brian. Goodness gracious me, I wished I had really put it in, because I have a decent brain, and even as a young person, I read a lot. But what I did, I learned to read, but it was the Daily Record I learned to read, and it was the sports pages. Yeah. I used to filter right through the sports pages, and that's how my spelling and my reading are very, very good. But that wasn't because of everything I put in at school. It's because I was obsessed with football and sports, and I just read for the back in the way for the Daily Record that my dad bought. But in terms of school, it's it was what it was. It was probably, I never maxed it. For sure, I never maxed it. Football was everything, and I wanted to make it as a professional, and that's what I tried to do,
So did you move into, what were the sort of, were you a footballer? Were you?
No, what happened, Brian, I was training at Hibs and Dundee United and stuff when I was about 15, and I broke my femur. I was playing in a cup final for Hutchie Vale, actually, out at Anderson Rangers ground, and it was a cup final. I went up for a header, and when I came down, I had a really sore groin that week. My femur snapped, and I obviously had a hairline fracture of it, which I never knew, and that was where the pain was coming from. Okay. He's talking about players, young players nowadays. no playing with hamstrings and all the rest of it. I can't remember training or playing with foot a wee niggle. You know, there was always something about my body that was a wee bit sore, but that was all right because that's all we'd done. So I went up for a head on, but I came down, my leg snapped, my femur, so I was out for 18 months. And that was a blow at that time. I then went back to Hutchie Vale under 18s and then signed for Easthuses under 21s. There was a guy called Willie Pearson there who was the manager. A great lad.
Was that so? Were they in Eastern Scotland League at the time?
No, it was like an under 21 team, so it was quite a strong under 21 league at the time.
Right.
But I was like 18, so I was one of the youngest ones, and I got a trial down at Berwick Rangers, and Jim Jeffries and Billy Brown were the managers, and they actually signed me for Berwick Rangers. But then that summer they went to Falkirk, so I think they kept the signing forms in the drawer, and then just took me to Falkirk with them. So I was part of a number of players that went into Falkirk on a part-time basis. It's probably one of the regrets I have that I was working in my dad was in the post office, so I got a job in the post office at the time. So I was full-time at the post office and then part-time at Falkirk. But it's one of the regrets I have. I should have actually asked and just no bothered about financially and just went full-time at Falkirk. It would have given me a better opportunity because I was a decent enough player, but technically very good, and but just never had that right mental attitude, I think. And the two players I played with that actually made it were Alan Preston and George Wright, who went on to play for Hearts, and so did Alan, he was at Dundee United and stuff like that. But that Hutchie Vale team, we had some players in it, mate. Oh my goodness, what a team it was. It was different class. So so that was the journey as a player. And then I just sort of, after I got released for Falkirk, I went to Musselburgh Juniors, Bonnyrigg, Whitehill, and then back to Musselburgh. And that's where I kind of settled. I settled at Musselburgh, doing it all in bank. We had a very good team. John McGlynn, who was my manager at the time. And John left to go to Hearts. He got offered for Jim Jeffries and Billy Brown, for enough. Got offered the full-time role at Hearts. My son Stephen had just been born. I was 28 years of age, and I had a choice to make because John phoned me up and said, "Would you fancy coming in and helping me?"
At Hearts or
at Hearts, aye. Right. And I said, "Well, it was one of their ones, and it was a choice, either playing or coaching." And at 28 years of age, I thought, I'm going to get a shot.
So why does he phone you at that stage?
John was my manager.
But have you started helping coaching at Musselburgh at that stage? Or
what had happened was we had played. I think I took the team for a couple of games. A lad David McGovern was there as well with John. But I think in between times I can remember taking the team for a couple of games. We played Linlithgow, and I was on the phone to John and I said, I'm going to go and watch Linlithgow and stuff. And we had a really good relationship, me and John. We still have to this day. And I think he knew that I was trying to get prepared. And so I went and watched Linlithgow and then tried to organise a team to play against them and stuff. And I think John seen that and maybe seen something as me as a player. I was quite a good wee organiser in that, in the middle of the pitch and stuff like that when John was my manager. And I think he seen something in me. And and that's what a mentor to have. Like John McGlynn then is no the John McGlynn now. John McGlynn is he is top in my estimation. But what he did teach me, this is what he taught me, right? Discipline and be relentless and the pursuit of excellence. That's what he taught me.
So when you say discipline, what do you mean by discipline? Right.
So we used to meet up at Tynecastle because we trained with that under 16 through at Wishaw. So we had to meet at Tynecastle, go up to the laundry, fold the kit, get the kit ready, away through to Wishaw, back. Done that twice a week, game on a Sunday. And I was full-time at the post office, working night shift. And it was but I was driven because I really once I started, because at 28, when John was taking training sessions, the way I got my kudos to a certain extent with the players is because I would go in and play with them if I was an extra body, and I could still play. And I could play, and they were 15, they're no small, but I was quick in that as well. So I got a wee bit of kudos through being able to play, and they're like, wow, like, so, but then, see when John says, Darren, go and do this and go and do that, and like I was like, I wanted to be the best there. I wanted to do the best, not be the best, but do the best I could. And what I'd actually done, I think, more than anything, what I've probably done more than anything in my coaching career is when I get asked to do something, I get the job done, and I show immense amounts of energy and enthusiasm for it. And I think energy and enthusiasm when you're coaching young players is hugely important. So they'll feed off what you are, for sure. So that's how we started. And
did you want to be a coach at this point? Like, so,
once I stopped playing, because I was like, once I stopped playing, that was me. I like it was on. It was like in my head, I wanted to get to the top. I wanted to be the best, but that comes at a price, Neil, Brian. That comes at a huge price, Brian. And ultimately, if I'm being honest, like, professional football turned me into a workaholic. And the people that suffered were my family. And I have regrets over that, huge regrets over that.
It can be all consuming hours wise, can't it? So your weekends go because there's games all the time, or there's training all the time. Then during the week, you've got preparation, you've got recovery, you've got the sessions, you've got everything that can come. Anyone I know that's been in either a coaching or a playing role, they say it's always on. It's always on.
It's never off. And I couldn't separate. I could not separate, because ultimately my ego was getting driven by wanting to be the best. And lots of regrets. And although this game has given me, like, and I feel very grateful and fortunate to be in the position I am today, still involved in the game and actually doing what I'm best at, and that is teaching young players and giving back to young people who in general sometimes need a lot of help, sometimes don't, but giving back is something that I'm trying to do at this stage of my life. And it's an amazing game to be involved in. It's an amazing game. It's a beautiful game in terms of the way that it flows and moves and the rhythms and all the stuff that makes the game of football. It's a wonderful sport to be involved in. It's like, for a team sport, it's amazing. And the camaraderie and the enjoyment that I've had over the years has been great, you know.
Yeah, and I can see you lighting up just as you started saying that there. So that's the start of your coaching journey. Then you get that sort of entry with John McGlynn at Hearts. Talk me through so when I think of a coach in an academy these day and ages, I think badges, qualifications. What's your sort of? Is it more of an on-the-job type learning when you were coming through and earning your stripes, or is there a bit of both?
I think because when I was going through the academies, weren't what they are now, and but I went on my badges very quickly because I wanted to get my badges under my belt, and I do believe actually, Brian, that like having a badge does make you. It doesn't make you a brilliant coach. It doesn't make you an awesome coach, an amazing coach, an elite coach. But what it does is that it proves that you've went out your way to try and get better, to try and max out in your potential as a coach. And I think that's really, really important. It's I think having a badge guarantees a number of things. I think respect is one of them. I think like the industry that I'm in at the moment, I believe that people respect coaches that go out their way, that spend money, that try and better themselves. So I do believe it makes you a better coach for sure, because you have been through that system now. Do I believe in everything, all the badges system that the SFA turn out? Probably not, you know. But I got to the pinnacle of doing my pro license, and that license, and it was quite. not emotional, but I feel for Jim Fleeton. Lost his life not long ago through a long-term illness, and Jim was we never always seen eye to eye, me and Jim Fleeton, but he ran the best pro license. I mean, the people that, like Alistair Campbell was sitting talking to us on how like Labour gained entry into Downing Street and stuff, and just in terms of like people to listen to gain that experience of managing up, how you manage up and stuff like that. The pro license was amazing, but also like so fortunate to have like brilliant mentors. I spoke about John McGlynn there, we Donald Park. Donald Park was on my A license and my pro license, and what a guy. Like one of the best.
Lost recently as well.
One of the best. And so it's I truly believe that coaches will go out their way to gain their licenses, whether that be your B license, your C license, your B license, your A license, A youth, advanced children's, all these things. They're out there to be done to get better, to try and get you better. And anybody that goes on these courses, I think is trying to get better.
Yeah, we'll probably get better, even if it's just by the network effect of the people that they meet along the way. And it's interesting you say it like that, because when I had sort of written down that, does qualification and badges equal a good coach, I was thinking in the back of my mind, it shows you've got that desire to improve, that desire to learn, that and then you can take the insights you learn from them, those badges, and implement them as you wish.
100%, but it's actually about like the networking and the people that you meet as well, and you're looking at other coaches, different coaching styles, and I believe an elite, a top elite coach takes things for everybody, and then somehow makes it their own, because every coach does that. The people I've been involved in, like with John McGlynn, and still involved. We're through with my coaches. We've got a couple of 17-year-old coaches, younger coaches. They're away showing. John's took us in for a day as a CPD day, and we went in the day. He showed us the video analysis, how we're going to go and play against Hibs, and strengths and weaknesses, and then we go and he shows us the training, and he brings us right into the office, asks us questions. We 17-year-old coaches sitting there, Buzz is like, wow, this is... And then one of my coaches, Declan, he goes to the game on Saturday, the win 4-1, he's like, incredible. And just to get that insight of professional sport at that level for my coaches is just like incredible.
Aye, that's fascinating. You've made me realise. So I all the research I've done for DMElite, we're not even on to that section yet, was player development. I never even thought about coach development, which is what you've.
Oh, but this is what I'm saying, like Brian, for 5 years now, I have been solely focused on getting it on the pitch right. Get it on the pitch right, and everything else will be all right. So the pitch stuff was the key for me. So I had to develop systems and process, because that's how you develop players, through system and process, because the process has got to be clear, both for coach and player. So what I done was, we need the system. I'm going to put down categories, because the sessions are really important, the way they're structured. We're going to put down certain categories. So we've now, sitting on our website for our coaches, we've got our systems and our processes with categories. So ball carrying, passing and receiving, transition. So we've got, I'm not going to tell you them all, so we've got 7 categories that sit there. And then the coaches can go in, flick on, right, that's what we're going, short combination, whatever it is. So it's so organised. Get the stuff on the pitch right, but then the stuff behind on the pitch. So how do we do that? How do we create that? How do the coaches that come in and work with us, how does Declan and Patrick, so Declan Fergus, A licence, double A licence coach, Patrick, A licence coach, they had to come and shadow what we done for a couple of weeks, see the videos, understand the process, and then they were ready. So the whole focus over 5 years of work is to get the stuff right on the pitch, because that's player-centred.
So see how you've come up with that. So you've called it categories. I'm just going to call it coaching manual for ease, right? How have you designed that? And so you've got the 7 categories you need with all the different parts within it. Is that just through experience?
No, it's through experience, but it's also, I have been so fortunate in my coaching career that 11 years ago now, I came back up the road to Coventry City and I got a phone call from John Coohan. And he offered me the head of coaching role at Box Soccer.
Oh, right, okay.
Right, so I was...
he owned that business, didn't he?
For 5 years, I was the head of coaching at Box Soccer. Now, what John Coohan done for me was not only open my eyes to like a programme, which I had my own programme, but then a development programme, but it also opened my eyes to how business works. So, like, my mentors in a footballing sense have been John McGlynn, Donald Park, Stephen Presley, and John Coohan, who is brilliant at brilliant ideas in terms of football, but also in terms of business. So I've also got one other person who came into my life 6 years ago. He's actually a parent of one of my players. Peter Kwok is a good friend of mine. Peter's been like, over the last 6 years, he's my best mate. He keeps the balance in me and through the work that we do together. And I am so grateful and fortunate to have these type of people when I need to ask a question to go to all different areas of my life. Having emotional control of yourself is crucial. And it's only really been in the last 6 years that I've had a real emotional control over me when I'm coaching. And that's due to a number of different factors. Myself, working hard on myself and getting better as a better person, but also having good people to speak to. And I'm so grateful and very, privileged to have these type of people who I can speak to on a daily about anything that I've got a slight problem with. And it's that, like, honestly, I can't tell you how grateful I am for that.
So that I think every person and every business needs, like you say, their almost their board of directors that can shine a mirror on them. But I think what I've heard you say there though is you've identified where you've got a personal weakness and you're using others to use their strength, which is good business sense, good personal sense, good social sense.
Yeah.
So when you say John Coohan helped you understand almost like the footprint to imprint, I'm still thinking somewhere though, like the intellectual property of what the coaches should be thinking about in terms of how to impart the sessions, how to, what you really want players to learn. That, you must have had that somewhere in your mind and had you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Had to put it down on paper.
Aye, absolutely. I mean, like, getting it from here to videos sitting on your website for your coaches to look at, it's not the easiest processes. So it's been a process of learning, doing it, not quite right, do it again, get it right. So that's sitting there now. So we've got our categories, we've got our sessions all sitting there, and we've got new ones coming on board all the time. So we'll have another filming day quite soon to get new ones up, because there's probably a couple of different systems we use when we work technically. So ball mastery, it goes into like 1v1s and 1v2s and 2v2s. It's a slightly different system to what we use in our group training. So these are two different systems that work hand in hand to ultimately the way that our groups train and play. So it's been a process, but I know for sure, right, that if I never went through all this process, I wouldn't be at this point now where we're sitting, where we've got a pro and 2 AA licensed coaches, and we've got a number of junior coaches. So just to give you an idea of our junior coaches. So we've got 2 lads in Midlothian, Taylor and Brodie, both came through the programme, 17 years of age, been with me for probably 12 years. Like, we have kept players for 10 years. It's been a 10-year process. So in Edinburgh, we have got Murray Grant and Mackenzie Fall, who Declan had as young players. Now, these boys, right, they didn't take group sessions, but what they've started to do for us is they've followed us, right, and engaged with us for 8 or 9 months before we've kind of went, okay. And so these guys are now ready to go and find their wings, with us to help at all times. And the good thing about DMElite is that although I've created it and I own it, the way that we'll work is on a flat line. It's like, so me, Patrick and Declan are like on a flat line, and the boys are like a flat line as well.
Yeah,
so although there's somebody in charge, it's a flat line. We all help each other. Any questions, I'll ask them, they'll ask me, and we'll come to a conclusion of this. So there's discussion points, which is great.
So you've mentioned you've taken on those 3 boys and you've got Patrick and Declan. You sound to me somebody that's got quite high standards, right? So how have you made sure, like what kind of due diligence have you done across all those people, other than knowing that, so the 3 that are sort of junior, that you've obviously known them a long time, right?
But yeah, the due diligence is really important, right? And I think when you talk about coaching standards, right? So I've came from a place of, I'm still getting better though. I'm still getting better, Brian. I've got a lot to learn still, and that's how I like it. I'm kind of interested on what other people and how other people coach. I know the way I coach. I know the way I coach. You know, I'm quite hands-on, quite energetic, enthusiastic. I love detail, and I love to get players and groups of players working together. But I also need other people with me. I need Patrick Craig. But see the nuggets of information that he gives on a calmer level than what I can give is amazing. Declan Fergus is a young, brash, like energetic, demanding coach who's got a real bit about him. So we're all kind of different, but the beauty of what we do, Brian, because of the systems and the process, the messages are consistent. Now, if you get consistent messages, and from a development point of view, like that's development in itself. I knew Declan. I was a coach educator at Hearts, and he was one of the coaches. I knew he was a good coach. And he came out the blue. He came completely out the blue when I was looking to appoint somebody. And he came, I was just about to appoint somebody. He came, asked a question to somebody asked me, I met him. And although I know him, we weren't friends and stuff like that, but and that's fine. But he's came in and done a fantastic job. Both of them are completely different, but we work together seamlessly. Like so tonight, me and Declan will be together. And what we do is we split a pitch. So we'll have 10 players working there, 10 players working there, and in half an hour's time, they switch. So he'll be working on a specific thing, I'll be working on a specific thing, and then ultimately it just works so well. It's so well. And the kids, I would like to think the majority of times, and one of the coaching, one thing I love about coaching, right, is that see at the end, the kids are like, is that done? Ken, and what I call it is, can you get a group of kids into a flow state where like that hour seems like minutes? Because that's, see when you get them like that, and we've got loads of groups like that now, see when you get them like that, something special's happening.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing thing to witness. And some of our, all of our groups are developing for sure, girls and boys. But that getting them in that flow state is the best thing, because I know that the enjoyment there is there, and it's so important. So, yeah, due diligence. So Patrick came in from an Indeed post, and I met Patrick, and then spoke to a few people, and he's just the right person. He's the right now. Here's a key here, right? So I'm the owner. I drive a lot of the stuff. I am 100% happy and secure in what I'm good at. I've never been a manager. I've taken youth teams, reserve teams, first teams as a coach. Never been a manager. Didn't want to be a manager because I know what I'm good at. I'm good at developing young players and coaches.
When did you figure that out? That was your place in the craft?
When professional football had a detrimental effect on my life. See, what you've got to realise, Brian, is that when you go into a football club, you're a number. When you're a coach at a big organisation, you're just a number. It's never happened to me. I've always, so when I went from Hearts to Coventry, Stephen Presley approached Hearts for me. And then when I left Coventry, it was off my own back because I was homesick. And that's so. But I've been involved. I was there the night that John McGlynn got sacked after St Mirren at Hearts, and he is my friend. I was there on the bus going home with him. I can see pressure building at Stephen Presley when we were down there. It's like it takes a specific type of person to be a football manager, because when you're in there and when you're in it, you're in it, and there's so much. The good parts are that much. The struggle is that much.
Yeah.
But ultimately, there's some people, some managers, and as a coach, embrace the struggle. They embrace the struggle because when you get the good bits, all the struggle makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So when you say, so it sounds to me like the pressure of a manager isn't something you would have ever been able to or wanted to put yourself through, but you must have pressure as a first team coach or an academy coach that is feeding the outputs for these managers as well, though.
Of course. There was always a little bit of pressure, but I was really fortunate at Hearts and at Coventry as well. I had some incredible groups. Here's a story about Christophe Berra. So everybody thinks it's too late, I'm 14, or it's too late, I'm 13. Here's a story, right? Not a lot of people know this. Fine. I was under 16 coach at Hearts. I needed a right back and a centre back. I went down and watched the Dyna Hibs under 15s. And I like to look at the wee right back. And so Mick Riley was a coach. And I knew Mick. And I said, Mick, I like the wee right back. And I speak to his dad. I says, Mick, I'm struggling for a centre back. Have you got a centre back? Aye. See that laddie there, Darren? He's a centre back. He can heed the ball a mile, right? I said, really? He said, aye. So I said, it's all right if I speak to his dad and maybe get him on trial. And he said, aye, of course. So the wee lad, the right back, was a lad called Kerr Dodds. Who's the big centre back? Christophe Berra. So you go 6 years down the line, he gets sold for £2.2 million, goes to Wolves. Off a recommendation for a player I didn't even see. But it's nuts, yeah.
Yeah, that is wild. That's wild.
Played 55 times for Scotland.
Yeah, that's wild. So he did tell me that he was quite late in terms of getting picked up, but I didn't realise the picked up process was almost by chance.
It was by chance, and this is what I'm saying. It's never too late. And
at the start of this segment, though, you've effectively said you were lucky you got some good groups to work with, but both those players, so Berra and Ballatoni, both said to me it all changed for them when they started being coached by you.
Yeah. I think the thing I was good at, right? See, the thing I was good at, I was organised, really organised, right? Through John McGlynn, organised and disciplined. And then I was taken away with Barcelona. The Iniesta team, like Xavi. I was taken away with that team, how that team played. So right. I wanted my teams to play like that. I copied it. I had a couple of 2 or 3 groups at Hearts that played. Do you know how Motherwell are playing right now? That's how we played. And what we're talking about, I can remember John McGlynn asking me a question. We played Motherwell. It was the first game after Hearts got put into administration. We played Motherwell at Tynecastle in a 20s game, and Motherwell had a really strong side with first team players. We basically had a youth side out. And we went 2-0 down, but we were playing so well. There's a goal that we scored when we were 2-0 down, that if you say to any coach in the world, what's the score in that game? It would be like 3 or 4-0 to that team. We were 2-0 down. And John McGlynn always asked, I remember asking the question, what was going through your head when you were 2-0 down? I said, it was more important that the players continued to do what they were doing and no make the game a lottery. Because once you kick that ball long, it becomes a lottery. So we continued to do what we're doing. And we ended up winning the game 4-2. And the goals, there's actually a clip I put on Facebook ages ago, the goals in itself. And they're like, wow. And I know it's an under-20s game, but we used to go through to Rangers and Celtic and dominate them and doing to Hibs and dominate them just through playing good football. And they couldn't, like some of the times, like other teams couldn't get the ball off us because the players were so good. Like I was so fortunate. We had an idea. I had an idea, and I was really fortunate.
How do you implement that idea and that philosophy then?
Right. So this is what happened. Right. I was really fortunate. I had 20 players per day. It was like the Romanov era. So there was loads of youth players. Right. So I was doing like 11v11 all the time. Patterns you play. You can ask any of the players. I was like relentless with it. We used to do patterns all the time. And build up 11v11 and half a pitch and 3/4 of a pitch, and then looking specifics. How do we get? And then I was really focused on, right, like, so I'd done my analysis of the following game, and if we had done a passing rotation that wasn't quite right and we missed the last pass, well, I would find something training wise to incorporate the last pass.
Right.
So we would train not so much with the notion of who we're going to play next in terms of the analysis, but what we can do within the game.
Aye, I know what you mean. So where you were breaking down.
Aye, we're breaking, but areas, we did like, when I look back, it was a lot of like unit work and how you create an advantage, either down the side or through the middle. So there's three ways of playing football, eh? Well, you either go around the team, you go through the team, or you go over. Right? There's three ways. But the way that we've trained with these groups of players, like Jason Holt, Scott Robinson, Jamie Walker, Callum Patterson, Bill King, Adam King, Fraser Mullins, Kevin Mackay, Brad Mackay, even gone back the way a wee bit. There was a great group of players and like Andrew Driver, Lee Wallace, Callum Elliott, probably the best striker ever that I've worked with. But so many good players, but they played together so much and understood their game so much that they developed themselves. A coach's job, right? Guide. If you can guide attention and intentions and then create the correct environment, and then when it's getting a wee bit too easy for them, add constrictions to the sessions. See through really clever session design. You don't need to tell them what they're working towards because it'll come anyway.
Yeah.
And this is a crucial bit for coaches. Make it the environment is about the players working off space, teammates, and opposition. Now to use that and like your eyes have got to be open. So what are you seeing? What are you looking at? So your perception is everything. So see when a player comes in presses or two players comes in presses, it's not the initial press you should be concerned about in possession. You should be concerned about the space that the press offers in the next phase. So we were like, even like getting the ball out for the back, for example. I'm talking about 2011, 2012. Like we had 3 stages.
Yeah.
So I understood that teams would look at us and come up. That's fine. I would drop like 3 midfield players right down to create a gap, right, between for our wider players and our striker would stay high, and they would dink it in. Then we'd get chances on that. Then we would get up the pitch, and then we'd maybe score a goal on that. And then what would happen is they would start to go back the way because then they want that to happen again.
Yeah.
And then you're playing that game, right? So if they go back, but then we just dominate and play out. So and again, even at that stage, you're talking like 2011, 2012. Like there's 4 areas of the pitch. Like you create, you control, you then execute in your final bit. But the bit that was always really important to me is can we create something to execute? So the pass between the line, how's your body position and your hips and stuff like that. So listen, I could go on forever with all this stuff, But that was when I was taking teams.
It's very like detailed, isn't it? The that you've got to go into to sort of get it executing to this higher standard as you want it, the rhythm that you want it to.
Aye, but ultimately it's all about distances, eh?
Yeah.
So
Spaces and distances.
the distances for every individual player to every individual unit will either have a adverse effect or a proactive effect on winning the ball back.
Yeah.
So how close are you? Are you close? Can you get the ball back if you lose it? How high are you up the pitch? Where's your goalkeeper in all this? So these are the things I kind of my juices start to flow when I start to think about that stuff.
So when you're doing DMElite sessions now, you're obviously working with smaller groups, right?
Yeah.
How do you shrink these ideas down to the sessions that you're designing and planning?
Perfect. Great question. So that's exactly what we do. What I do is a shrink. So if I've got 10 players, between 10 and 12 players, we work on a specific, whether that be a ball carrying session, a receiving session, but ultimately, see, football's all encompassing. Eh? It's all right saying that you're going to work on this and work on that. Sometimes, didn't say anything. Make restrictions on a pitch, turn pitches around, make sure, and here's the crucial bit, make sure they're not going towards one central target as young players in a training environment.
Why is that crucial? What do you mean?
I think for in terms of development, right? So I see a lot of stuff that goes to one central goal. Now I understand.
Right. Okay. So I know what you mean. So
it funnels.
Okay.
Like football does. Like when you go and play, like it does funnel in towards one goal. But in terms of development structure for the youngest of players, why? Tell me why that's a good idea. Because for the sake of me, when I put either 4 goals out or a dribble line, a goal, a dribble line, a goal, so you dribble over it to get a point, or if I make something slightly different, the attacking and defending becomes completely different. So your attacking phases, like in your defensive phases. So with young players, for example, I go and watch, before I set up on a Sunday, I see the 5 asides at Sighthill. And there's one goal.
Which is what my boys are involved in.
Right, so there's one goal, right? Single goals. So let's go back to Fun Fours. Right, let's go back to Fun Fours. The very first start and process of playing organised football in this country. Fun Fours.
Yep.
You go up to Sighthill on a Sunday. Or whenever. We're going into one goal. Right? One single goal. Right? So everything gets funneled towards one goal. Right? So I've seen it myself. You got one really good team, one poor team. The poor team congregate and stop things going into this one single goal. Right, the other team are smashing balls off their legs and all the rest of it. And then you look over at the 5-a-side pitches and they're actually shooting towards goals that are wider than the 7-a-side goals. And we Johnny's coming out with 17 goals and I think he's a top player. Yeah. That's fine, eh? Yeah. That's fine. But for the life of me, Brian,
So when you said to me before that you thought we needed to think about like a redesign at the earlier stages in Scotland, is that what you mean? Like
we have to. The lack of support that is out there for grassroots coaches is frightening. What's good practice, right? Like I always think what's good practice is to employ people. Could Hearts, Hibs, Rangers, Celtic, Aberdeen, all the elite clubs, right? Could they not attach and pay a person, and they would get that person for X amount, right? Wouldn't need to have to be a lot of money, but that person would then be like, we're going to go and help the grassroots coaches. We're going to do our best. I know Alan White at Hearts does stuff with
he does coaches days and that kind of stuff.
Aye, but it's really just about games and let them play and all that. And I've heard this thing in Scotland for so long. Let them play. All right, aye, but see, when there's direction and there's goals, there's got to be a thought process of playing in a position. There has to be.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
There has to be a thought process. Yeah. So see structure. Scotland is the most unstructured football that I've seen, and I've seen a few countries. Players didn't understand where they're actually standing on the pitch when they're playing. Our players go to 7-a-sides, nowhere near ready. But for me, for me, the first time they should go into a central goal is when they play 7-a-side with a goalkeeper. First time.
So when you say you've seen other countries, have you got examples that you can base that on to say the model somewhere else looks different? I don't know, Holland, Brazil.
You know what? I'm actually no sick. I don't need that.
Right.
To be honest, Brian, because here's the thing. Like in the past, let's have a look at Iceland, and they're doing great. And let's have a look at have we not got people in this country who are development coaches, who are elite development coaches that have got a good idea to change the structure of how our first players go in and play their first sort of organised games. Because what happens now is we never get them ready to play 7-a-side. We go around because a lot of the times the coaches need help and to structure them in that way. What does the structure look like when they play 7-a-sides? Is there a pattern forming? Is there any type of pattern forming? No, there's no, because it's about like wee Johnny scoring 7 and him doing a chop or like a double. And I love ball carrying, don't get me wrong. I've got one lad, but do you know what he does? He doesn't do a chop, he doesn't do a step over, he doesn't do a double, whatever it is. Do you know what he does? He has an attunement to the space that is available to him to move into. And he moves in a specific way, both left and right, that gets him into that space. He works the space better than anybody I've seen. And it's through change of direction, through hips, through speed, and through being as one with the ball. So this whole thing, skill-based players, we've got. I watch some of the stuff, and I'm like, you would think that the players don't fast forward.
So there's a big bit on your website and on some of the social media aspects I've seen where you sort of talk about players that come to you will get better during games rather than look better when they're training. Is that kind of what you're touching on there?
I think what we do, and we had a couple of trialists last night at one of our sessions, and I speak to the parents as soon as they come. I say, listen, what we do is a wee bit different. It's through structure, and we've got systems and process that the players have got to learn before they really. So there's an overburdening aspect to what we do. Yeah. So an overburden in the brain, an overburden with the body, and so there's a lot of when players come, you can see that nervous energy.
Yeah.
That nervous, like where they go next, because it's a rotational. What we do is a rotational thing. It's a rotational thing. So one time you can be an attacker, the next time you'll be a defender. And what we do, and this is the basis here, all we do is play small-sided games, but they go at the same time, and then they meet in the middle.
Yeah.
On extra balls where they can't switch off. It's a bunch of small-sided games where we usually do a numerical advantage for the team on the ball, sometimes, a lot of the time, which gives them that advantage to try and get out and through. And we always try and start our processes where they have to go up through the phases. But we always have players coming to press. So the decision, and the quicker we get to that, the better, because decisions are where they grow. And I truly believe that confidence and belief for young players is the key thing. If you can get players who are confident and believe in themselves, that's hugely important. But also that having that emotional control.
Yeah.
Emotional. You see with Jimmy, who is really doing on his luck and he feels sorry for himself and his shoulders drop. And I just say to them, like, well, here's a question for you, Brian. How many hours are in a week? 168.
Right. Okay.
So there's 168 hours in a week, Brian, right? You come to DMElite for one of them. So I want you to respect your parents for bringing you here, first and foremost. And I want you to do a couple of things for me, right? And here's what I know. Running hard, never switching off, and working hard will no guarantee you having the best session tonight. But what will guarantee you is you'll never have a bad session through doing these things. So you can guarantee not having a bad session or a bad game by running hard, working hard, and being positive for yourself.
Right. What is a good coach? there's quite a big tapestry to it, isn't it? It's not just like here's 2 or 3 things that say you've got to be energetic and enthusiastic and you're away. I've written about 8 things down here. You know what I mean?
The way I see it, Brian, right? Like what is a good goal? Right, so having the ability to connect before you correct. That's crucial. You've got to connect to a kid before you correct them. And once you've gained that connection to the player, you can then start to say, right, come on, let's look at this. Like, how can we do that a wee bit better? But ask questions. Like, ask questions. They know more than you think, yeah? And I think, and it's all right, like, and this is what I'm saying in terms of, like, youth coaches who take boys clubs teams who want a bit of help, you know, having a framework of what actually happens. I'll tell you, right, so see anybody listening that's involved with young players at grassroots level, right? I'm going to give you a bit of information here. Please go and do it. Follow a guy called Coach Johnny.
Hello, Brian here again. Just a quick one. If you are enjoying this episode and getting tangible value out of Darren and I's conversation, please remember to subscribe. And also, please feel free to buy me a coffee and support the podcast. Thanks. Back to the episode.
He's a founder of Fun Factory. This guy, just through his social media, is helping me immeasurably.
Right.
The way it gets down to the children's level in terms of the way he discusses and talks about stuff. It's similar to what I do, but he's much better at it than me.
In terms of communicating.
Amazing. Biggest bit of advice a day, follow Coach Johnny for the Fun Factory, because I do it. And that's what I'm saying, Brian, learn, be open to learning.
Yeah.
And this is what drives me. How can the sessions at DMElite be as player-centered as possible, but with us giving the right messages? Because I truly believe, see that football pitch, that is a microcosm of their life.
Yeah.
So if they are positive communicators, they'll be positive communicators in the house with their mum and dad and their siblings and at school. If they work extremely hard, they 100% will work hard away for it.
If they've got confidence in it, they'll have
confidence, belief.
If they can talk to their teammates, they can talk to.
So are they being humble? Are they showing humility? Right? Is there anybody? And the one thing we like football's enjoyment as well. It's going to be fun for them. It's going to be fun. So have a laugh together. Never laugh at anybody, but laugh with everyone. Everyone. So there's got to be that environment where we get them in the flow state.
Yeah.
We put them in a flow state for an hour and they just come off and think. And what we're doing is getting them automatic at processes. How did they receive? How were they able to play forward so much? How is that? Because we teach them. We teach them about their hips. How they move their hips, how they can look. We teach them how to receive the ball. We teach them how to ball carry. But ultimately, it's their game.
Yeah.
We're only there to guide. Elite guidance. Elite thoughts. Always worried about the word elite because here's the thing, right? So
I was going to ask you about the branding for sure.
On the elite. So elite's an important word, right? So we have 9 elite academies in Scotland. Yeah. Do you know that every single one of them has over 100 players? So what they're saying to us is there is over 1,000 elite players in Scotland.
The country.
Not only that, there is 6 teams per elite academy. That's 12 coaches per club. So there's over 100 elite coaches. Nonsense. It's nonsense. I say when Roger Arnott was the academy manager and I was the coach educator at Hearts, if you have got any thought of trying to make this better, here's what you need to do. You need to dual age band everyone, and instead of 6 teams, have 3. So what happens then? You got to think about that, Brian. What would happen if the elite academies had three teams as opposed to six? Well, there'd be half the players would have to drop down to CAS, the CAS leagues.
Yeah.
And then half of the CAS players would have to then drop down to the boys' clubs. So that goes exactly the same with the coaches. So with one tweak there, and for the right reasons, everybody gets better. The only company that builds for the bottom, for the top down. All our energy, all our professional elite stuff should be focused on the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get them as good as you can. Get the coaches who are working with them as good as you can. Then you give them a chance.
Whose responsibility is that? Because it does feel like it's very fragmented. That there's not like a central body, like a governing body that's doing that in a, or is that just everybody's responsibility?
Well, teams get funding, but I think some of that funding is getting taken away. And I think I personally think that the academy structure is well, it is what it is. Like, you get better coaching, you probably get better coaching because there's coaches who are licensed, for sure.
Yeah.
You'll be playing against better players. So playing against better players and good players does make you better, for sure. Is it the right thing for everybody? Is it right to have 100 players per elite club? Is it right to have 6 teams? How much false promise? How much false hope? And then it goes to education, Brian. It goes to education. So behaviours are so important. So behaviours. So parent behaviour, coach behaviour leads to player behaviour. That's the way because the coaches only got them so many hours a week. The parents got them most of their work. Well, they're at school and stuff like that. But having role models is key.
So do you want to quickly just tell us, just give me the feel for how many players you've got in the overall, just build a picture for me quickly for everyone.
So we've got coming up to 400 players on a weekly basis. We're looking hopefully in the summer and beyond to get up to 500 players. It's not a numbers thing for us, to be fair, but that's where we're sitting at the moment.
And the 6 coaches that you said, so
we've got 7 coaches. We've got 7 coaches, including 8, including myself. I am interviewing a lady coach as well, and we're just in the middle of got to look at the pitch stuff right.
Yeah.
The one thing that's kind of we need to do better at is our business development and operations behind the scene. So we've put an ad out for a business development and operational manager, which we've had like an incredible response, like 24 applicants.
Yeah. Okay. So
that's the next stage.
Yeah. So it's beyond like a you can manage it yourself type stage. You've got 400 to 500 players. All those. What age groups are we talking? So from 6-year-old to
6-year-old, 5, 6-year-old, all the way. We can take older ones. Declan does a session with older ones on a Saturday as well, up to 17, 18 years of age.
Right. Okay.
But we're kind of open with who we work with. But it's been good because we've been able to give something back to the community in Newton Grange and in Edinburgh through some of our club deals as well, which is really important to give back something. We're in the process of trying to secure a sponsor to make sure that the strips are like low cost, if for nothing. If we can do it, I always like to give back a wee bit something as well and ultimately as well, there's got to be a huge thank you to our parents and our players because without our parents and our players buying, we didn't exist.
Yeah.
And we're so grateful to have a great group of parents who understand that. I think there's a trust there. I think we didn't just get a new players through social media. We get through word of mouth. A lot of our players come through word of mouth, and I think that's what we do.
That's how I heard of it for sure.
Aye.
What So when I think of the brand, right, which I've said to you already, I really like. I do like it feels very premium, and then therefore when I look at how much it would cost to put my son in, the price is a lot more than other ones.
Yeah.
Is that something you looked at and you're comfortable with and you can qualify?
Do you know that what I actually done, Brian? Right, I was the cheapest. I was the cheapest when I was on my own. I was like way cheap. And then I done a bit of research, and actually we are on people of our standard for group sessions. We are still the cheapest by far.
Are you?
By
Right.
far.
Okay. So when you say of standard, you've benchmarked to.
I've benchmarked pro license holders, A license holders who are working within my industry, and we are by far, I wouldn't say cheapest, I would say value for money.
Yeah. Okay.
We are the best value for money out there, for sure. Like, listen, I just quickly, I want to talk about regulations and the lack of. This industry is absolutely exploding with Tom, Dick, and Harry coming into it because they see a number of things. They see a quick buck, they see some social media stuff, and they think they can go and coach and do one-to-ones, and then that'll end up in a group because there's more money. And I think the lack of regulations is frightening. Now, touch wood, I hope it never happens. Something's going to happen to a child, right, in this, and the torch is going to be shone on everybody. And because I know, as a parent, what's the most important thing for me is to make sure my kid is safe when it goes.
Safeguarding, child safeguarding, 100%.
So what does that mean? What does that entail? So has DMElite got public liabilities insurance? Yes. Has DMElite got enhanced disclosure check? Yes. Has DMElite got a company disclosure scheme? Yes. Has DMElite coaches first aid trained? Yes.
The thing is, parents, I know what you mean, right? I know exactly where you're going with this. But when people see loads of kids are going to one-to-one training and that, they don't really then go, right, what's the checklist I should go do? And they just go.
So what happens is, here's what happens. Let's just be honest about it. Let's be honest. Regulation has to come. Now, whether that's for the SFA, whether that's for individual councils, and it was John Cahoon at Box Soccer who was absolutely all over this, and he said, Darren, and he was so straight with it. And so regulation I think has got to come in, because you're getting anybody and everybody sole traders. All they're doing is they're being sole traders. They've not got any company PVG scheme, nothing. They're using PVGs that they've had for boys clubs or whatever, but they're actually invalid unless it's for the company they're working for. So how can you get a company PVG scheme if you've not got a company and you're a sole trader? It's like I didn't get it. I didn't get why people are allowed to do it. It looks like they've seen social media. I'm going to be a one-to-one coach. They are one-to-one coach. Then they start to do this and that. But without even just the safeguarding stuff, like take away licenses, experience, like all that stuff that makes a company, right? So many, mate. And it's like
I know what you mean. So it's not even so much that are you qualified from a technical perspective to be able to deliver this training. It's can you actually say that you're allowed to work with children in a compliant and safe manner? Why do you think there is such an explosion in all these performance schools? And
I think it's quite interesting. There's a lot of people call what to do an academy, but and I went down the same route myself, but I took the academy away because I'm just a football training organisation. I'm not an academy. An academy offers way more than what I can offer.
Yeah.
But DMElite, to a certain extent, we didn't do gimmicky stuff. There's no gimmicks with us. They get what we get there. They get honest, authentic coaching. And I think there's been an explosion, because does it make you a better footballer doing a one-to-one? It might make you better technically, having loads of touches, repetition, right? For sure. Physically, I think it can get you better. But I want my one-to-ones to have a decision-making process where the players to decide something. Because without a decision-making process, how is our brain functioning? How football is... So your body and your brain are two systems that work together, right? So your brain is the one that gives you the information. Your eyes give information to your brains. I keep telling them, your eyes are the best cameras, quickest cameras ever. They take so many shots. How many pictures are you getting? So can you correlate what's happening there with your body? And the one-to-ones, I've seen some decent ones that there's decisions in, but without decisions, repetition gets you better at stuff. So,
yeah, but you can do that in the back garden, though.
Well, this is the thing. It's weird, because I see people coming in with kids. I see people that I know who I know can actually play, and I'm like, can you not do that yourself?
So one of the questions from one of the listeners was, what benefits does one-to-one coaching bring, and what stage does he recommend it?
Right. Well, I mean, that just in terms of what I said there, I think repetition of touches. For example, if you're right-footed and if I was maybe a parent, he's got a really good right foot, but can you get him better on his left side?
Yeah.
So then the balance of the body and the brain, there's a brain thing, this as well, using both sides of your body. So you could absolutely at 6-year-old say could you go and work on that side, please, and then get a different colour soak on, and he goes and works with that. And for sure through repetition only,
they will improve.
They'll get better. But that hour, remember, how many hours are in a week? 168, that's only one. So what they do today, they've got to practice, eh? They think they can't, what I say to the kids is that, when you do something here that's you're going to go and practice it. Go practice it.
So another one we had, which was similar, it was on the same vein that you started talking about there. It's so there's so many hours in the week. You've got 1 week at DMElite or 1 week at whatever your training was. What does he think the optimum amount of football is a week for 6 to 9-year-olds? How should that be split between formal sessions, e.g. DMElite, club football, playing outside with mates, etc.? Interested in what he thinks is right and whether you can slip into too much. So basically,
as long as Johnny's got a smile on his face, or Olivia's got a smile on his face, and he is loving it. He is loving it. It's no a chore. It's exciting. They've got a smile on it. They're thinking it's fun. Is there a limit? Is there a limit on something that's enjoyable? At that age. Now, I understand when they get a wee bit older and they're 10, everything starts to grow, and then you've got a wee bit of slatter stuff because everything's on AstroTurf and knees and all the rest of it. I get all that. But see, at that age, it's about enjoyment. If that child is enjoying it, let them go. Encourage it.
There's never enough. Yeah, there's.
Well,
it's
so
like
we've got players who train twice a week with us, twice a week with our club, and play at the weekend at that age.
And they never look tired, I bet you. So
they've always got energy.
This next one is the same sort of thing. So what would you recommend kids do at home? Is it just about the old street football ethos of ball at feet as much as possible?
I'll tell you what they do. See, when they wake up in the morning, make their bed. That's the first thing any child should do when they wake up, because ultimately they're taking responsibility for their actions and they've achieved something. And I say that to the kids. Make your bed. Other than that, what you'll do on that football pitch, you'll do in the house. If you're busy, if you're a helpful person, if you try and be kind, if you can communicate well. And these are the things, these are the messages, Brian, that we try and deliver on a weekly basis to the kids.
Do you know what's really shocked me there? Is so that part on your website that I said before of the off the pitch stuff, I wasn't expecting you to say that there. I thought you would say something like, we just said, if he's good with his right foot, get him balanced with his left foot.
So here's the thing at DMElite, and I'm focused on this. Person first, player second.
Which has surprised me, I have to say that.
Well, so I'll give you an example of that. There was a wee boy moaning at one of my sessions a number of years ago in Midlothian, right? Because a laddie done something and never passed the ball, whatever. And so I said, all right, so you want to moan at him? All right. So I just say, right, group. Who's got a young boy or girl in your class that's got some difficulties in terms of learning?
Yeah, everyone has.
Everybody put their hand up, right? So they all put their hand up. I says, how does that person make you feel? And some of them came back, it stops us learning. And all right, okay. I says, hands up if you've went and helped that person. No hands. I then get 2 emails a week later for parents who had emails home saying that they had helped that kid.
Oh, wow, right, okay.
And see that, take away football, take away all of that. And that's what I'm saying. The messages that are sent are the most important. Person first. I'm more important that they when they leave DMElite, that they leave as a good person. And for sure, they'll be a better player.
Aye. And I think you'd struggle to find an argument that says, nah, what you should get more satisfaction out of is seeing somebody body swivel perfectly rather,
And that's amazing. We've got a really big girl section. They're doing great. And we've got a wee girl called Alexis who went and scored 3 or 4 goals against an older team. And she'd done exactly that. She went there, and then scored. And Declan texts me and says, I've got this through, is all right. I said, of course you can put it up. Of course, that's a nice thing. But we'll put up different things. Like, I'm more about, like, so success comes from knowing that I did my best to become the best I was capable of becoming.
Yeah.
And that's success. Now, whatever that is, now, if that player goes and plays at East of Scotland, it plays divisions, plays first team, goes away and plays down England, amazing. But it's this is a journey.
Or even if they play amateur with their mates.
Doesn't matter.
Aye, exactly.
It doesn't matter. It really, honestly doesn't matter. I mean, I coached James Maddison down at Coventry, who was an incredible, talk about taking a player, getting the ball in the half turn and stuff. He's just an incredible young player. But we've got a young lad called Remy, right? Remy came as a Maradona player. His dad pulled me last week and said, Darren, just to let you know that Remy's been put up to Iniesta level, to Maradona. And that's just as important to me than looking James Maddison going into a first team.
Aye.
And in fact, it's more important to me now. Because like the bits of information and it's not about having, we give elite level information, guidance to grassroots footballers.
So I'm just reflecting over the whole conversation. So you started off talking about where you grew up, then how you cut your teeth in football, and then, you worked in the postal service at night. Where do you think the fabric of all those values you've mentioned comes from? Because it's quite consistent throughout this conversation that you've been back to, that discipline, be your best, but be respectful, be kind, be heartful.
If I'm being the last 6 years of my life, to be honest, I think with the people I talked about that have been a big help in my journey, and understanding that it's nice to be important, but it's way more important to be nice. Sometimes I sometimes go to my bed making sure, redoing my day. Like, what have I done well? What do I need to do? Is there anything I need to apologise to anybody? Because, I think about my day like that. I do think about my day like that. And it's important to me. It's important to have that.
I've been quite surprised at your level of self-reflection and self-awareness, because before we met, just the players I know that have trained under you, I thought I was going to be chatting to a hot-headed coach.
Mate, honestly, right, you wouldn't believe it. Like, you would not believe it. I remember, here's a story for you. The boys will tell you this, right? We were sitting top of the league, under 19s, an incredible team, right? Like, top team. Like, all still playing, like, first team at different levels. And we played Hamilton at the Oriam, and they beat us 7-0. Right, Jordan Kirkpatrick, who played for Hamilton, and is a decent player. He scored 4 worldies, and we actually played all right. But so I was like that, right? Oh my God, top of the league. So I says, right. So I tell them all, 7 o'clock the morning, get yourselves in. So I get some into at 7 o'clock. I goes up the top pitch, and I absolutely ran them until they were, honestly. You have no idea. It was the worst, probably one of the worst days of our life. Because I ran them. But whenever we beat 7-0 again, and we ended up winning the next 8 games or something. And I remember another day, right? We were playing Dundee United on a Tuesday, right? And we lost a goal for a set play. We got beat 1-0. And So where I stayed at the time at Pulton Park, there was a football pitch outside it, right? But it was my day off. So I had like, it was with the kids and that. So I was like, right, all yous report to my house the morning.
Right.
That's true. Right? So I had them getting set plays and the full-time youth players
in the
getting
public
set
park.
plays, honestly. But see, after that, right, I went to the baker's and I got them all bacon roll and we sat in my garden and we had a chat about it. Came what I mean? It wasn't a bit, it was a bit.
See that I was not expecting somebody who thinks about their life when they go to bed every night and, you know, wishes or doesn't wish their day away, but writes down what's been good about their day. I was expecting somebody that was going to almost name the rights of the podcast to me. There is one listener question I want to ask you, though, that we've not had yet, which is quite an interesting one, actually. So, what other sports do you encourage the kids to play that will have transferable skills to football?
See, I think anything that gives your body rhythm.
Aye.
I think anything that gives your body rhythm, anything that works your left and your right hand side, anything that works your brain, your hand-to-eye coordination, so like tennis, table tennis, see all that stuff that works your brain and absolutely anything that gives your body coordination, any sport.
Aye, I thought you were going to go with something that provokes thought and makes your body have to be fluid, basically.
100%. Anything that gets your body into a rhythm. Anything that is built rhythm. See, your whole life is built up through rhythm. You know, and patterns. Rhythm and patterns. When you're a baby, you do the same things.
Starts from the off. Aye.
For the off, you do the same things. So yeah, that's.
No, I like it. It's fun, interesting. You mentioned tennis because I've done a wee bit of research on it, and that's meant to be the one that's got the most correlation. It's even like the short, sharp sprints, the way your joints move,
twisting and turning, change the directions. Like really, really important. But there's not a lot of people that play tennis in Scotland. But paddle started, Paddle started, but being big. So
anything we've not covered that you want to cover, that you want to get over about DMElite, or
no? I think we've covered quite a bit there, Brian. It's been good. I just lastly that I want to thank you for getting me on. I've enjoyed it, and just thank everybody for helping me on my journey. Without the people behind me, and without the people that are working with me at this moment, Declan Patrick and Brodie, Taylor, Murray, Hamish, Mackenzie, we're certainly making a small inroads and making a big difference in some young children's lives and families' lives. And I think it's important to always be honest and authentic when you do things. And I think people understand that from us. I think we're always here. I've had a number of meetings with children's parents over the last couple of months in terms of, whether it's a development thing or whether it's just to give extra support to them, because all children are different and they learn differently. There's a lot of issues with children at the moment. There's a lot of things that children can do that takes them away from the beautiful game and being outside and getting, the freshness and getting physical and sport is so good, and team sport is brilliant for bringing character and personality. So it's all encompassing at the moment, but yeah, I've really enjoyed today, but thanks again.
Yeah, no, brilliant, and thanks for your honesty and coming on. Really appreciate it. So, for people to keep in touch with what you're doing, just DMElite on all the socials. Is that probably the best way to?
Yeah, that's probably the best way.
Also,
their operations manager will probably start in the next month or so. So we'll get somebody who's in there full time working, creating contacts through you get more contacts with clubs, try and help clubs develop their coaches, try and help clubs develop the players. So we're out there to try and help as well, as much as it's a business. And my goodness, VAT is 20%, business tax is 90%. But everybody just sees this business. You think but how business works is incredible. It's incredible. Yeah. But we want to try and give something back as well, Brian, which is really important to us. Looking forward to building what could be a really exciting few months. We've got this big project we want to really work on and push out to develop the youngest players, but also help the parents adjust and readjust to what happens within what we do as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thanks a lot for coming on, and I wish you all the best, mate. Really do.
Brilliant, Brian. Thanks again, mate.